Hey guys, Handycable Gamer back here with you again, and today I'm going to be reviewing Neptune Flux. But before I do that, I want to announce that the randomly selected winner of the Neptune Flux giveaway is Chilltown Y2J. I have asked you in the comments of the giveaway video for your email address so I can email you the code, so please get back to me on that one. And now for the review. Have you ever wanted an underwater story-driven exploration game in VR? Well, this might be the game for you. Neptune Flux by Zoxide Games is a deep-sea adventure game that takes place in the near future. You take on the role of an employee working for a dystopian corporation called Aqua. As you explore the ocean, you'll discover supernatural wreck sites, ancient artifacts, lost treasure, and dark secrets. The developer has said that Neptune Flux is inspired by games like Myst, Minecraft, Fallout, BioShock, and classic LucasArts point-and-click adventure games. So if any of that sounds like a good thing to you, you're probably going to enjoy this game. The game takes place in a dystopian future where we are trying to colonize the deep sea. So how does the gameplay work? Well, from the start of your game, your character, Sarah, is in an underwater pod, and you control the pod, driving it around with the left and right sticks, and you're basically searching for salvage to collect what you can make money for, and use that money for upgrades and restocks of your different equipment, such as flares, speed boosts, additional lighting to make things brighter while you're underwater, things of that nature. And from the start of the game, you have an AI companion that you report to when you finish certain objectives, and he tells you what they need you to do next. All the while, you can also search any area you want at any time and collect as much salvage as you want. For a lot of people, VR is a medium that lends itself well to shorter experiences because people aren't accustomed to being in VR for a long amount of time. Neptune Flux is a good example of a game that can do this. It's possible to beat the game in only 35 minutes, if you know what you're doing. But if you're more of an explorer type, the game can take you 2 to 3 hours depending on how much salvage you pick up and how much you try to explore, and how long it takes you to figure out certain puzzles in the game. I won't go into any of how those puzzles are solved or if they're successful, because I don't want to hit any spoilers as to the actual story. But once you can learn the mechanics of the game, it actually is quite interesting. And it definitely has a sci-fi tone to it. As I was roaming around underwater, I did get somewhat of a BioShock feel, and I definitely got the sense that I was alone in this pod underwater, so the immersion is definitely there. I guess my big complaint for this, though, is when you're in the deep sea underwater and supposedly looking around in the ocean, you would expect to see a little more sea life around you, and all I saw was the occasional couple of fish swimming around. For the most part, it was just me alone in the darkness. And while that helped with the immersion, I would have liked to see a little more around me. As you're going through the game, you will find different wreckage sites that you can interact with. And that's pretty cool because VR always adds a sense of scale to games, and this game is no different, so the wreckage is pretty neat to look at. But again, the environment felt a little bit lifeless. So all in all, you're using the available mechanics on your ship to solve your puzzles, complete your objectives, and pick up your salvage. And that is the game. Those actions further fuel the story, which unfolds over time, albeit a short period of time. The sound was great. I did feel like I was actually hearing my AI companion over the intercom in the pod. So that was effective. You couldn't really hear the ocean outside of your pod, which I guess is understandable since it would be completely sealed. So in terms of sound, they nailed it. That's fine. The visuals are solid for what the game has to offer. Again, since the whole thing takes place in deep sea, there's a lot of dark blues and browns and things like that you would expect to see underwater. But when you shoot your flares up, they are bright. And when you use your sonar ability, the neon blue does definitely stand out. So the visuals are plenty acceptable. In terms of story, as I said, it's a sci-fi narrative, and it is compelling, especially for people who enjoy a bite-sized narrative that's easy to digest, but also makes you think. One thing I will say is that the game's biggest strength can also be its biggest weakness, depending on the player. The game succeeds in making you feel isolated, so much so that they don't even offer a tutorial on what buttons do what, or what you're really supposed to do. It's kind of something you just figure out as you go by pressing buttons. And that, combined with the puzzle solving, may turn some people off, because it'll drag the game out when they want to know more about the story, and instead they'll be stuck trying to solve a puzzle that they don't understand because the game didn't give them any context. Now, with that said, there are some signs in the game, if you notice them, that will tell you a general direction of where you're supposed to go. But other than that, the game leaves it open to the player to put forth the effort to figure everything out. And as I said, some people will love that, so it'll be a huge strength. Other people, it'll take them too long to figure things out, and they may get bored. Because if you don't eventually figure out what you're supposed to do, then you're basically mindlessly traveling under the ocean. An upside to this game being all underwater and very player directed is that if you want a game where you can just lose yourself and calmly look around at an underwater world that you wouldn't normally get to experience, this game might be a good stress reliever for some. In the end, I think if you're the type of player that enjoys narrative games, puzzle-based games, or any combination of that sort, you'll like this game. In most recent memories, I'd say you might like this game if you're a fan of The Witness, because that game definitely didn't hold your hand, and this one doesn't either. The game is only around $8, so for that price, I think they hit the nail on the head in terms of giving you your money's worth. Because as I said, the game can take you up to 2 hours, depending on how you play it. But if any of what I said sounds good to you, then for that price I would suggest maybe check out this game. I definitely enjoyed my time with it. I even played through it twice just to check out everything. Well, that's my review of Neptune Flux, and I appreciate you guys watching the video. Remember to like, subscribe, and share, and I'll talk to everybody soon. Thanks.